Welcome back to Martial Mastery Media. In today's episode, we'll be diving deep into the fascinating history of Aiki-Jujitsu, one of Japan's oldest martial arts, known for its precision, technique, and emphasis on blending with an opponent's energy. We'll explore its origins in samurai culture, its evolution over the centuries, and the different styles and techniques that have developed. If you're passionate about martial arts history, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share this video with your friends and family. Let's begin. The ancient origins of Aiki-Jujitsu. The history of Aiki-Jujitsu stretches back centuries, deeply rooted in Japan's feudal era. Aiki-Jujitsu, also known as Aiki-Jitsu, was developed as a practical combat art for the samurai class, who needed effective techniques for both armed and unarmed combat on the battlefield. Its foundation is built on the principles of using an opponent's energy and force against them, rather than directly opposing it with brute strength. The core of Aiki-Jujitsu is the concept of Aiki, which translates to harmonizing energy. In combat, this means blending with an attacker's movements, redirecting their energy, and using their momentum to execute joint locks, throws, or immobilizations. This approach allowed samurai to defend themselves against larger and stronger opponents or to neutralize threats without necessarily inflicting fatal damage. While the exact origins of Aiki-Jujitsu are difficult to trace, many historians credit Minamoto no Yoshimitsu, an 11th century samurai, as one of the art's founding figures. Yoshimitsu was a member of the Minamoto clan, and he is said to have studied the movements of the human body in battle, dissecting the anatomy of fallen warriors to better understand how joints and muscles worked. His observations led to the development of techniques designed to exploit an opponent's vulnerabilities through precise joint manipulations and throws. Over the following centuries, Aiki-Jujitsu was passed down through various samurai families, each adapting and refining the techniques. It was an integral part of their warrior code, known as Bushido, which emphasized honor, discipline, and combat proficiency. Daito-Ryu Aiki-Jujitsu, the most influential school. The formalization of Aiki-Jujitsu into a structured system came much later, with the emergence of Daito-Ryu Aiki-Jujitsu, one of the most famous and influential schools of the art. The Daito-Ryu system was passed down through the Takeda family and was later brought to prominence by Sokaku Takeda, a legendary martial artist who lived during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Sokaku Takeda is often credited with preserving and promoting Daito-Ryu Aiki-Jujitsu at a time when traditional martial arts were in decline due to the modernization of Japan. Takeda was known for his fierce combat abilities and his mastery of both armed and unarmed techniques. Under his leadership, Daito-Ryu became known for its highly effective joint locks, called kansetsu waza, throws, known as nage waza, and blending techniques that allowed practitioners to control or subdue opponents with minimal force. Takeda traveled across Japan, teaching his art to military personnel, law enforcement officers, and martial arts enthusiasts. His teachings influenced the development of many modern martial arts, most notably Aikido, which was founded by his student Morihei Ueshiba. While Aikido would later focus on spirituality and non-violent resolution of conflict, Daito-Ryu Aiki-Jujitsu retained its emphasis on practical combat techniques that could be used effectively in real-world situations. Core techniques and principles of Aiki-Jujitsu. At the heart of Aiki-Jujitsu lies the principle of using minimal effort to achieve maximum effect. This is achieved by leveraging an opponent's own movements and momentum, rather than relying on raw physical strength. Let's break down some of the key techniques and concepts that define Aiki-Jujitsu. Joint locks, kansetsu waza. Joint locks are one of the most prominent features of Aiki-Jujitsu. These techniques target the joints, especially the wrist, elbow, shoulder, and knee, forcing an opponent into submission by causing pain and immobilizing them. Unlike striking techniques, joint locks allow a practitioner to control an opponent without necessarily causing lasting damage. Throws, nage waza. Aiki-Jujitsu features a wide variety of throws, many of which are designed to use an opponent's momentum to unbalance and project them to the ground. By blending with an attacker's energy and redirecting their force, the practitioner can execute throws with minimal effort. These techniques often involve sweeping the legs or manipulating the opponent's center of gravity to create the perfect opportunity for a throw. Blending, Aiki. The concept of Aiki, or harmonizing with an opponent's energy, is at the core of Aiki-Jujitsu. Instead of meeting an opponent's attack head-on, practitioners of Aiki-Jujitsu learn to flow with the opponent's movements, leading them into positions where they can be easily controlled or neutralized. This is the essence of using technique and timing rather than strength to overcome an opponent. Strikes, atemi waza. While Aiki-Jujitsu is primarily known for its joint locks and throws, striking, called atemi waza, also plays a significant role. Strikes are often used to disrupt an opponent's balance, weaken their defenses, or create openings for throws and locks. These strikes target vulnerable areas of the body, such as the throat, face, and abdomen, making them highly effective in combat situations. Groundwork, waza. Aiki-Jujitsu includes techniques for controlling opponents on the ground, although this aspect is less emphasized compared to arts like Brazilian Ju-jitsu. Once an opponent is thrown or taken down, practitioners can use joint locks or pins to maintain control and neutralize the threat. These techniques are all grounded in the overarching philosophy of using an opponent's energy against them. This allows Aiki-Jujitsu practitioners to efficiently defend themselves against stronger or more aggressive attackers, making it an ideal system for real-world self-defense. Styles of Aiki-Jujitsu. Over the centuries, various styles of Aiki-Jujitsu have emerged, each with its own unique approach to the art. Some of the most notable styles include Daito-Ryu Aiki-Jujitsu. As mentioned earlier, Daito-Ryu is perhaps the most famous and influential style of Aiki-Jujitsu. Its techniques focus on precise joint locks and throws, and it places a strong emphasis on practical application in combat. It is also closely tied to the history of the samurai and their methods of warfare. Hakoryu Ju-jitsu. Founded by Okuyama Ruho in the 20th century, Hakoryu Ju-jitsu is a modern style of Aiki-Jujitsu that emphasizes minimal force and maximum efficiency. Hakoryu practitioners use pressure points and subtle joint manipulations to control opponents, often causing them to submit with only slight application of force. Yoshin-Ryu Ju-jitsu. One of the older schools of Ju-jitsu, Yoshin-Ryu incorporates elements of Aiki into its techniques. It is known for its fluid, graceful movements, which are designed to maintain balance while executing joint locks, throws, and strikes. Each of these styles maintains the core principles of Aiki-Jujitsu but tailors its techniques to suit different contexts or philosophies of combat. Aiki-Jujitsu's influence on modern martial arts. Aiki-Jujitsu's influence extends far beyond its traditional roots. Many modern martial arts systems owe their existence, at least in part, to Aiki-Jujitsu and its focus on blending, leverage, and joint manipulation. Aikido. Perhaps the most famous offshoot of Aiki-Jujitsu is Aikido, founded by Morihei Ueshiba in the early 20th century. While Aikido incorporates many of the same techniques as Aiki-Jujitsu, it places a stronger emphasis on peace, harmony, and spiritual development. Aikido practitioners aim to neutralize opponents without causing harm, making it more of a defensive martial art. Judo. Judo, developed by Jigoro Kano in the late 19th century, also draws heavily from the principles of Aiki-Jujitsu, particularly its emphasis on throws and using an opponent's momentum. While Judo has evolved into a sport with a focus on competition, its origins are closely tied to the same techniques and principles found in Aiki-Jujitsu. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Though primarily focused on ground fighting, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, BJJ, also shares a philosophical connection with Aiki-Jujitsu. The idea of using technique, leverage, and strategy to overcome a stronger opponent is central to both arts, and many BJJ techniques have roots in traditional Japanese Jiu-Jitsu systems. Modern applications and self-defense. Even in modern times, Aiki-Jujitsu remains highly relevant as a self-defense system. Its techniques are practical, efficient, and adaptable to a wide range of real-world situations. Whether it's defending against an armed attacker or controlling an opponent in a close-quarters confrontation, Aiki-Jujitsu provides a comprehensive toolkit for dealing with violent encounters. Law enforcement and military personnel in Japan and around the world continue to train in Aiki-Jujitsu or its offshoots because of its focus on subduing opponents without excessive force. The art's joint locks and throws are ideal for restraining individuals in a controlled manner, making it a valuable asset in situations where escalation of violence is undesirable. Conclusion. Aiki-Jujitsu is a timeless martial art that bridges the ancient world of samurai combat with modern self-defense. Its principles of harmonizing with an opponent's energy, using technique over strength, and precise application of joint locks and throws have influenced countless martial arts, from Aikido to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Whether you're a martial artist, a history buff, or someone interested in practical self-defense, the legacy of Aiki-Jujitsu offers a deep well of knowledge and technique. Thanks for joining us in this exploration of Aiki-Jujitsu. If you found this video insightful, be sure to subscribe to Martial Mastery Media, hit that notification bell, and share this video with your friends and family. We'll see you in the next episode.